Good evening. How are we all? Thank you very much for joining us. Hope you are all well. Let's bring the boys in. Here they are. Unfortunately, Brian's not with us tonight. Brian's still poorly. So
So you got
Peter's
me
agreed.
instead. Sorry.
So Pete's agreed to come in and give his
Yeah,
eye view tonight. So thank you very much, Pete, for covering. Really appreciate it. He's got his beer, so he's a happy lad. He might get a bit slurry during the night, but he'll be fine.
we'll be all right. Evening,
So,
everybody.
and obviously Terry's here as well.
Obviously.
So anyway, hope you're all well. Thank you very much for coming and joining us for our third episode of the TTT Podcast. Obviously, this is where everybody has their say. As always, we've chosen 3 topics, but we're going to open the floor up halfway through to you guys, see if anybody's got anything to mention. So Terry's going to welcome everybody in, I think, if I remember rightly. Good man.
Yeah, evening, everybody. Welcome aboard. And first, we got Andy from AGK Woodworks. Michael McEwen's there. Alan Gibb is in. Mike Evans. Susie the Swiss. Susie the Swiss Leafer.
Swiss troublemaker, isn't it?
Swiss troublemaker. Roy's the boys in. Obviously, the pub's closed. Vinny Charlton's there. James Crawford is in. Albert Dawson has joined us. Simon Mason from Wildwood Turning is in. Robert Broadwood's in. And Woodinborough Haley's in so far. There are more in the background because I can see there's more, but they may join us later. Good evening, everybody. Hope you enjoy it, and don't forget to take part.
Take part. We're here for your opinions. That's what we're here for. So this
Great.
chair seems really low. Let's see if I can jack
Opinions
it a
and
little bit.
questions.
Move the camera down a bit.
Oh, that's a good idea, Terry. New tech guy. Terry the tech guy.
Terry, the tech guy. Move the camera.
I just going to click the thumbs up just in case it's good.
Oh, I won't go that far yet. Hang on, let's not do that. Let's
Nah.
not get too adventurous.
Well, Pete's in, so he's got it. Henry Scrosel Works has just joined us as well.
Good evening, everyone. Hope you're all well. Thank you very much for all coming over us. Like I say, Brian, hope you get well soon, mate. We do miss you.
Yeah.
And make sure you look after yourself. So, other than that, has anybody got anything they want to say before we start on anything we covered last month? If you can remember, can you remember what we covered last month? I know I can't. And I just lead the banners. Oh yeah, goodbye and hello. So, yeah. Other than that, I think we'll make a start. I think. Oh,
Baz from Real Simple Things has just joined us.
Hi, Baz. How are you? Hope you're well. So, as always, myself, Pete, and Terry have all chosen a topic to talk about. I'm not going to do them in order of me, Pete, and Terry. We're just going to scatter between them, and then we're going to discuss it. As always, going to spend 10-15 minutes on this topic, and then we were going to move on to the next topic, because if not, we could end up getting tied into one topic for an hour, and we don't really want to do that. We want to try and cover as much as we can. So,
Susie Turner has just said, I've missed the previous podcasts. Could you briefly explain what they're about?
Okay, Susie. So basically what it is each of us choose a topic. Every month, myself, Brian was in on the first one, and Terry. And then I believe we had Martin in last month, didn't we? Yeah, Martin was here last month. We all choose a topic. We spend 10-15 minutes talking about that chosen topic. So what we do is we give you the topic. We then ask for your opinion. You put it in the chat. And we're looking for your opinion on how a certain topic, how you interpretate that, and also your opinions on that. That's what we're looking for. It's about bringing your opinions forward, and sometimes those opinions coming forward can help others get through a similar situation, if that makes sense. Does that make sense? Anyway,
makes sense.
That's what
Frederick Day has joined us, and so is Sean Clifford. Good evening, both.
Good evening, Sean. Sean, I need to talk to you. I'll message you after tonight, mate. Right, so let's go for the first one. So let's go for Terry's first. So Terry asked the pros and cons of spirit/water-based colours. So as you all know, I'm a Hampshire Sheen guy, and I like the water-based. The reason I like water-based is because I feel that I've got a little bit more time to blend the colours together. But saying that, there are some really good turners out there, like Stuart Farini and a lot of others, who use spirit stains, and they get on really well with them. So maybe I should give them another go. I'm not 100% sure on that, but we will try it. So we'll see what happens. But anyway, what's your opinion on it?
Yorkshire Gets just joined you. Said, "Can you turn the bowl, Steve? Put me at ease." No.
Oh, sorry. I'll pretend if you like.
Not tonight. Just join in tonight, Glenn, if you
just
can
join in.
remember what wood turning is all about.
Ooh. Anyway, so Terry, what's your opinion on them?
Well, they're both good, and I think spirit stains do give more vibrant colours.
It's not stains; it's any spirit-based color.
Spirit-based colours.
Because obviously you do a lot of oil painting, so how do you find them?
Well, they're spirit-based as against acrylics. You see, acrylics dry very quickly, but they're water-based, and they are vivid colours. You can get gouache paints, which you can use on wood as well, which are extremely vivid, but they're water-based. But to get the textures and the mixing and all the rest of it, then spirit colours are more realistic, in my opinion. In the eye,
Presumably spray cans will
realistic
count
in the
as
eye.
spirit-based.
Yeah.
Hmm.
They're saying that you can get acrylic spray cans as well now, can't you? So
We can.
You can, yeah.
So,
Terry Bartlett's just joined us. Even Terry. Yeah, the thing is, water-based, as you say, you could, if you're applying them to timber, you can move them around, mix them, all the rest of it. Whereas spirit-based tend to dry quicker. But I think
I've
then
got a good question there. What works better on which woods? I.e., hardwoods and softwoods. Is one better over the other?
well, I think the softwoods would absorb more because they're
Yeah.
bigger grained and they wider grained.
yeah, you need a softwood, really.
But it
Whether
wouldn't
it be spirit or
it wouldn't really make much difference of what the wood was, unless it was really hard that it wouldn't even take the color in. That's the other problem you get. Some real hardwoods, you wouldn't get a white color onto a blackwood finial because it just wouldn't absorb it.
And the other thing as well is depending on whether you're using a spirit-based color or a water-based color. If you're going to use a stain or a dye, then you don't prepare the wood. You sand the wood and then don't prepare it, so no seal on it. But if you're going to use an acrylic paint or an oil paint or spray can or whatever, then you need to seal the wood first, because obviously if you spray onto a piece of bare wood, it's just going to soak into the color, and you're never ever going to get a good finish on it because it's just going to go all funny. Where the idea of a stain or a dye is for it to soak into the wood. So again, that depends on what you're putting on it, whether you're putting a paint on it or whether you're putting a stain or a dye on it. So it's a bit of a strange situation.
Yeah, and if you've got any type of wood that you don't use regular and you do like a bit of color in, then you'd have to test it first on a scrap piece of wood, because you could be surprised. Some of the woods will even change the colors. Some of the tannins in the woods can change the colors, especially if it's a spirit based, because the spirits will react with the chemicals in the timber. Which
So Frederick Day said, obviously, I would have thought that water-based products are less polluting.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you don't wood turn, you won't cause dust. So where do you draw the line? You know what I mean?
I mean, the paint industry generally, they've moved away from oil-based and into water-based for that very reason. It's less polluting. That's why you can pretty much wash your brushes out under the tap for any paint you can buy now.
Yeah.
And varnish as well. It's hard to get an oil-based
The only
varnish.
thing is they do say don't wash it down the drain. So, where do you go there?
Because
if you wash the brushes out, but don't wash it down the drain.
Even if you put water in a tub and wash your brush out, where do you get rid of the water?
Exactly.
You either throw it on your garden, which ain't good for your plants, or you throw it down the drain.
And
put it on the roses and paint them.
Yeah, places like the recycling centres and tips and all that. You can't take, or they never used. I don't think they do it now, but you have to need special permission to take old pots of half-used paint to the tip. And the way I used to get over it was to get old fence panels if I've changed them, because I used to do that sort of work, and paint them with the paint. Let it dry, and then take it to the tip. They'll get rid of it then, because they wouldn't let you take paint tins if they were hadn't paint them. So that's thinking of the environment again. So there's a lot of people who have hundreds of cans of half-empty tins not used for years because they couldn't get rid of them.
So in the chat, what's your opinion between spirit and water-based colours, paints, stains, whatever you want to call them. Which is your preferred type and why?
I think we need to distinguish actually, because as you said, there's a huge difference between stain and paint.
Yep.
Effectively, you seal and you put paint on top.
Yep.
And a stain, you don't seal and you let it soak in, so it's part of the timber itself.
And you seal on top of the
I think
stain.
that makes a difference.
Yeah.
Both can be sprayed, Alan. Yeah, both can be sprayed.
Yeah. The intrinsic.
Obviously,
if you're using, say, the intrinsics and the spirit stains, they can both be sprayed straight out of the bottle. You haven't got to thin or dilute them down.
But if you're using something like an acrylic painted over tube, then you have to thin it down with water.
Would you be better off using a medium?
Viscosity is good enough to go through.
Would you not be better off using a flow medium? Or does it
flow
not matter?
medium, yeah, one of the two. Yeah. You have to dilute them to be able to get them to go through the spray gun.
So, Frederick Dre's got a question.
Is it easier to produce water-based products rather than spirit ones? I don't know.
I would imagine water-based are mainly a powder until they're added water to them, aren't they? So that'd be a pigment, I would imagine.
I think that would be the same with spirit stains.
Yeah,
they would have the
I
same
know
thing.
that Martin's Intrinsics, the only one that you have to mix is the white because that isn't soluble.
Right.
All the others, once they're mixed with water, they become part of because they're soluble.
Yeah.
So you never have to shake them or mix them up. But the white, it's like a powder suspended in liquid. It's different.
Yeah, it's a waste of a bottle in my eyes. The white.
It is. It is. Use a white word and then don't paint where you don't want it to go. So
I only ever used it once, and then the carnivals came out, and you don't need it then because that makes pastel colours, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think I got the white in the sample size. I never bothered to get the bigger size of it.
Henry Strosos says he would like to use 100% tung oil. It takes longer, but you get a beautiful and very durable finish. I don't think you can get in this country. You can't get 100%.
Yes, you can.
Can you?
Yeah, Libron sell it.
Oh. So the same stuff the Americans use.
So tung oil. Explain to me what tung oil is, because I don't know what it is.
Tung oil is an Asian nut.
Right. Okay.
That it's made from. It's been used by the Chinese for tens of thousands of years. They used it to waterproof all their boats when they had a wooden navy back in the day.
Right.
They also use it for, those paper umbrellas.
Yeah.
That's done with tung oil.
What, to make them waterproof?
Yeah, just a piece of tissue paper, soaked in tung oil, left to dry, and it's a waterproof umbrella.
Wow.
So what about then putting it inside of goblets and cups and mugs?
Yeah, the downside to it is pure 100% pure tung oil takes about 30 days to polymerize.
All right.
So if you want 3 coats on there, you're looking at 90 days.
I mean, because people come up and say to us, don't they? Is there anything you can use to make it waterproof so you can drink out of it? But there isn't much unless you use some of these coats that are not.
The only thing you can put on in good time to make it waterproof and alcohol proof is plastic. And I hate drinking out of plastic beakers, so I just say, look at it and drink out of a glass.
I'd use that. What's the? I can't think of the makeup. Plastic coat. I can't think of the name.
Yeah, Rustin's.
That's it, Rustin's. Yeah, I use that to do a sink for somebody, and that was amazing stuff. Don't get me wrong. I had to put about 8 coats on it.
Oh, it's brilliant stuff.
First couple of coats I thinned right down, so it's soaked right in, and gradually built the coats, and the shine on it was like a mirror. Once that was all sanded back and polished, that was like a mirror. Absolutely beautiful. Yeah. So this tung oil. So does it go a matte, a gloss, or is it?
Well, pure tung oil goes gloss, doesn't it?
Right. Basically, tung oil is in England what we use as a base of Danish oil.
Right. Okay.
So what we do is we take tung oil and we thin it down with a bit of evaporating solvent, so that it becomes thinner and it dries quicker. Yeah. But effectively, what you get is a very thin coat of tung oil.
Okay. But it dries matte. That's a problem.
But You can then put another coat on, and you get to about 3 coats, you can start to buff it.
Yeah.
But you like you say, it's got long drying time.
The pure tongue oil, if you put a couple of coats on it, it's like you were lacquering it. It comes up lovely.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, the only trouble with pure tongue oil is the time it takes to polymerize. And I don't know about you guys, but I don't have a room in my workshop to spend 90 days finishing a piece of wood.
And a dust-free environment to let it dry in a dust-free environment.
Yeah.
Okay.
Doug Miller's joined us.
Get dust-free, but you know, I think you'd be looking at 48 hours or so of dust-free to use it at all, to get the sort of finish we're looking for.
Henry Scrosaw says he watched his dad use it on rifle stocks. What about gun oil? Because I got some gun oil for rifle stocks.
I got a feeling that the gun oil is a mineral oil based.
Is it? I'll have a look. I've got some out there. I've used it for years, mine. But I've got a brand new tub of it.
Pretty sure gun oil is basically.
But it was a matte finish.
It's mineral oil.
The stuff, the gun oil I've got is in a spray can, and it's got like a polyethylene coating in it. So it's good for your stocks and obviously for rust protection on your barrels and all that when you're out in the water and all that.
So petrochemical based and non-drying.
Yeah. Right. So Baz has put, I use acrylic spray paint for signs I make after a few coats of sand and sealer, but the cover's beautiful on MDF. Yeah. MDF is a key thing of sealing. If you don't seal it, they'll just soak in as much as you're going to give it.
Yeah.
Right. So Doug Miller put, tongue oil dries completely unlike most other oils, which we've just spoken about. Andy says, I prefer to use water-based. For some reason, I struggle with spirit stains, and I don't know why. I struggle with blending the colours. That's how I struggle with it, but that might just be because I'm not quick enough.
They dry a bit quick.
Yeah, they do dry quick.
Yeah, pretty quick, yeah. I've got a confession to make. I don't actually own the key manufacturer's spirit-based stains. I have tried them once, but I don't own them, so I've not really experimented properly.
So Alan Gibb has said, can both the products be polished to finish with lacquer, etc.? Depends what product you're talking about. If you put a spirit stain or a water-based stain or an acrylic paint or an oil paint, as long as they're dry, you should be able to lacquer over the top of them. If you don't let them dry, then you'll end up with misting in the lacquer because the moisture can't get out. So the lacquer will start going misty. But yes, as long as they're perfectly dry, you should be okay to lacquer over the top of them. Frederick J, with reference to water and spirit stains, are the health risks the same, or is one or more donors, i.e. food safe? I think you'll find they're both food safe, aren't they?
Good question. You need to go with the individual finishing product you're looking at. Now, food safe is a technical term as opposed to an item. Yeah. Food safe is, an apple is food safe because you can eat it.
Yeah.
And beeswax is food safe because you can eat that.
But the thing is, you're not
saying for certified to food safe, which is a different thing altogether.
Yeah. But the thing is, your food's not actually going to touch the colours because you're going to be putting a finish over the top of those.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really matter. So whatever you colour, you're obviously going to put a wax over it, or you're going to put a lacquer over it. So it's the product your final layer of product that needs to be food safe, not the actual colours.
William Kenny's joined us. Good evening, William.
Good evening, William. How are you?
Dancers the Hard Works. Mike has joined us as well.
Good evening, Mike.
And Mike says
it would depend on the pigments, Mike says.
Yeah. Totally agree. And I couldn't advise anybody on what is food safe and what isn't, because you've got to read the label of the tin you're using. If it doesn't say food safe on it, it isn't.
Well, not necessarily isn't, but it hasn't been accredited to be.
It hasn't been accredited, and food safe, as I said, it's not what is safe to eat. It's an accreditation. And if it doesn't have that accreditation, it isn't.
If I was making anything that's going to have food in it, like a fruit bowl, I'd use natural oils on it, like Danish oil or something like that, personally. Yeah. I wouldn't put any waxes on it.
Beeswax, that would work.
Oh, yeah, beeswax, yeah. But a natural product I'd put on it.
Don't forget any questions, please put a question mark in front so we can see these, because we may miss some.
That's a
I saw
loaded
one
question.
go by
Yeah.
just now. Question, but
Who from?
I can't remember now because it didn't have a question mark in front of it. Oh, it's just Doug Miller said Brewers Pitch. Where is it? Brewers Pitch.
Brewers Pitch.
Nice
Yeah, that's
beer and beer steins and canteens.
Yep.
Brewers Pitch. What is Brewers Pitch then?
And it tastes foul.
Is it?
Just buy a glass and drink your beer out of a glass, for crying out loud.
So, you know, what makes me laugh is we all worry about food safe, making sure we do everything right. But you imagine years ago when they used to just hog out a piece of wood and drink out, they wouldn't give a monkey's what was in it, would they?
Well, no, I mean, they used to use beeswax. They used to use brewer's pitch. If I'm making a goblet for a wedding toast, I deliberately put no finish on the inside. If they're toasting in wine, I want that wine to soak into that goblet, because 10 years after the wedding, I want that wine to still be in that goblet.
Stained.
It's just a thing I like.
Yeah, well, that's perfect. That is.
At the end
If
of
it's
the
a
day,
real posh, if it's a
hurry
real
up and
posh
drink it, or
wedding,
the glass out of the lot.
if it's a real posh wedding, that'd be champagne.
Champagne, red wine's the best. That really does stain nicely.
There's a nice stain.
But I don't finish the inside of wedding toast goblets because I want the wine to be part of the goblet.
Yeah, exactly. What's that smell of aroma?
And to be quite honest, if you put a glass of, they fill a wooden goblet up with wine, it's not going to soak through unless it's an old spouted rough piece of timber.
Well, unless you've got holes in it, but you know,
yeah, it's not going to soak through by the time you drink it. So can either be used to color resin?
That's one for you, Steve.
Sorry.
Well, now you happen to say that, I actually did some samples with the intrinsics in resin, and because they're water-based, I was very amazed that the colours actually took to the resin. Normally, you have to use a spirit pigment to colour your resin, but I used a epoxy resin, and I tried blue, plum, red, honey, and there was another colour. I can't think of the other colour. I don't know, whatever. There was 5 colours I tried. The yellow, the red, and the blue came out perfect. The purple sort of faded quite a lot. It went nearly back transparent as it was curing. And then the other colour, I can't remember. I think it was green. The green was okay as well. So out of the 5, only the plum reacted against the pigments. All the other 4 pigments of this water-based intrinsic colors all work really well. So any spirit-based pigments, so like the spirit stains, they will work perfectly well in resin. You can put oil paint into them as long as you thin it first. You can put acrylic paint into resin. They all work well, but to be honest, you're better off with proper pigments. They will give you the best results. The pigments will.
Ruby Claire's joined us evening. Ruby, she says rustings do a good finish.
Yeah, we've already discussed the plastic coat.
Yeah, we said about that's plastic coat, but
I don't know about the evening Ruby. Sorry, being rude there. I don't know about the carnival colours. I haven't tried them, but I will try them just for a test, really, to see if they work or not. Because I like to say, I and Martin was really surprised at the intrinsic work being water based, but I will try the carnival colours just to see how they work. Be worth just trying them.
Got the carnival ones. I'm using them.
Yeah.
I'll do them.
So I will try, man, and let you know. I'll do a short YouTube video on them, and I'll do some tests tomorrow and have a look and see if they do work.
Nigel Harvey's in. Good evening.
Good evening, Nigel. Hope you're well. So I think
we've hammered that one.
I think we've extinguished that one. Do you think? Thank you, everybody, for your comments and points and views. Hope you've all learned. See, the good thing about this is that people learn stuff. There's people in the chat who don't know the difference between a stain and a spirit and a water-based color. There's people in the chat don't know the difference between prepping your work surface between a water-based and spirit stain stroke dye opposed to a spray can or acrylic paint or oil-based paint. So it's nice because people are learning as we're going through it, and that's what we're all about. We're here to help each other and tick through the boxes. Right, so
Lucy's just joined us, and Michael McEwen did say water-based do not work on urethane resins like aluminite.
Aluminite. Okay.
Okay, the professor's in as well. Good evening.
Hi, Rob. Right, so this is my question. What inspires you to keep wood turning stroke making? So me, it's about exploring new things. Like I said to Pete before Terry came in earlier, sometimes I suffer terrible with maker's block or turner's block or whatever you want to call it. And I'll stand at the lathe with a piece of wood and I'm like, I don't know what I want to do. I've got no clue. I've turned so many bowls, a bowl's a bowl, a vase is a vase, but it's just trying to put you a little bit of a spin on it. But then on other times, I'll sit in the living room and I always have a pad on my desk and I have notes on my phone. And I'll sit there sometimes and just little ideas pop into my head. And don't get me wrong, sometimes they fail, sometimes they work, but that's part of being a maker. And the good thing is with being a maker is if you try something, especially wood turn, if you try something like a different colouring technique or a different style, if you don't like it, you can turn it off and try all over again. So that's what inspires me. So what about you guys?
Well, Henry Scrosall says his woodworking is mental therapy, which is a good one actually, because it does help. I've been there as well.
Very much so.
And what makes me, well, I mean, my audience every Sunday night, I've got to think all week about what I'm going to do, and then I'll decide 3 minutes before I go on, or maybe 2 minutes, depends if Pete's in early.
I love getting on the lathe.
My sanctuary.
Yeah, I love getting on the lathe because when you're on the lathe, you just forget about everything else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My workshop is my sanctuary. I come down here and I shut the door and I'm in here, and the rest of the world can do what it wants because I'm in here.
Exactly. That's good.
So I'll come down here and I will turn stuff. I like my workshop to be self-funding, so I do turn for money. And I was saying to Steve earlier, that's quite good because I've got to come down here. I've got an order for 500 pieces. I've got to turn up into the workshop. I've got to turn 500 pieces. That'll keep me busy for best part of a week. I haven't got to think about what I'm turning. I just got to do that. But I'm getting paid at the end of it. As soon as I put that in the post, when I've turned it, I put it in the post, and the guy who employs me for that, he will literally pay me the next day. And that's grand. I've got another couple of customers that similar, not necessarily as quick with the payments, but they do pay. And those jobs are, if I want a new tool, I go and do one of those jobs, and it's X amount towards that tool. Yeah. What I earn in the workshop gets spent in the workshop, mostly. Sometimes it gets spent down the pub, but mostly it's in the workshop.
Yeah. Or in the field.
Doom bar.
But it's the in-betweens. It's when I don't have an order in, and I get the same as Steve. You come down here and you think, okay, what am I going to do? And you go through your woodshed and you look at what you've got in stock, and you think, oh, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do that. Sometimes YouTube comes in handy with that because you think, okay, let's do something for YouTube. And most of what I do on YouTube, I aim at a 10-minute video. So I'm looking at 6 to 10 inch, nothing much bigger than that, that I can knock out in an hour, edit down to 10 minutes.
But then you got the editing time as well, so that also keeps you time.
Oh, the editing time can be anything up to 3 weeks with me.
Yeah, well, I'm still editing one of my first videos, you know.
But,
years later. Watching other wood turners, Anne Laurie says, and what they're turning may give it a go. Retired, so she's got the time, but also hashtag week and things like that. People say, oh, "Come along, make this."
Yeah,
you've got 2 weeks to do it, so
that's
that gives you a goal to aim for.
That was part of the reason why we brought in hashtag.
That's why it was started.
Yeah, that's why we brought it in.
Ruby's got a good point there. Sometimes people will commission things that you would never have thought of making, and that's really good.
Yeah, it's a challenge as well. When you got things like that's a challenge.
My pocket watch stands, which I've demoed many times, that came from a customer. It was an order, and when he asked me to make him one, I said, "What is it?" And he drew a sketch on the back of one of my business cards and gave it to me. And I said, "Right, I'll have it ready for you next week." and I've made hundreds of them since then. But it's not something I'd never heard of before.
Henry Scrosaw says his favourite thing to turn is trumpet, yelp, or turkey calls.
Yep.
And he likes turning pens as well. What's a turkey call? It's like is it one of those things you blow into or whatever?
Yeah, American hunters use them.
Do they? Right. Okay.
We don't do it because we haven't got any
And
turkeys.
they've got like a plunger on it. They've got a plunger on it.
I don't know.
I'm gonna have a look. I'm gonna see if I can. I'm gonna see if I can Google it and have a look.
I've seen one of those. Simon says, personal betterment, trying new things, challenging yourself, satisfaction of the final piece sometimes. But I said already, mostly calming the mind and losing yourself in the process. And that is what it is, really. It's as been said before, it helps your mental well-being.
Yep. Very much.
Can also frustrate you as well. You don't get it right, or it flies off the lathe, or you drill over in the bottom. But it's all good fun.
I enjoy when some think what works is good enough.
That's leading into my topic, isn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean it's difficult. I don't undersell. I don't sell for a lot because I sell wholesale 90% of the time. So I will be selling at half of the final retail price, or in fact less than half the final retail price. For all the bowls and vases and stuff like that I do, they go out cheap. Yeah. But that's because the shop's selling them, they've got to make a profit as well.
Oh yeah. But, if you're doing them in a shop, then obviously the shop makes their profit because they can't keep going else.
Yeah. Yeah, it's, they've got to employ staff, they've got to pay electricity bills, they've got to stay open. So they've got to make money out of it. But I don't undersell because at the end of the day, if you sell cheap, then another turner can't make a living.
Yeah. Sell it for a realistic price. And don't say, well, it takes me 3 hours or 4 hours and I was going to charge £20 an hour, so that's £80 for something that a really experienced turner would turn in 15 or 50 minutes or whatever. You got to equate to the fact that if you were that good a turner, professional, been doing it for donkey's years and doing them that quick, that's what you should sell it for, because that's what they would be selling it for. Yeah. So, you can't just say, because I've been on the lathe for 5 hours and turned one thing, then I should expect a lot of money for it. Because people won't pay that either, will they?
Paul Finley's joined us. Evening, Paul.
Hello, Paul.
Evening, Paul.
Roy's back. He didn't want to listen to us, so he went off.
Nigel Harvey says he's inspired by the guys such as us, or as you guys. I've got fed up as my house is full of stuff.
Yeah, I see that.
I've turned so. I tried to sell some at a craft store, which was a disaster. So now it's just special things. Fair enough.
I must admit, I did 2 or 3 craft stores last year, and they were a total washout. I didn't sell a thing, didn't even cover the cost of the pitch. But the ones I've been doing this year have been totally different, and I've done 2 things different. The first thing I did was I've gone to a farmer's market, so you've got more. It's more crafty, because the last ones went to more like glorified car boot sales. So they're more crafty. They're actually allocated to crafts, and so you got bag makers, jewelry makers. There's an old boy there sells soap. There's a woman who sells all smelly scents, and another one who sells all sweet. Just all proper craft things. And the second thing I've done, I don't put as much on the table, and I've made the table so it's different layers. So I bought some wooden crates, all different, 3 different sizes, so they give me different layers. And I also bought a white and bamboo coloured shoe rack, so there's like 3 layers, and I have that at the corner with all 3 layers on it. And I've sort of spread things out a little bit and put a bit more room between it, so the table doesn't look cluttered, and that seems to have made a difference. But whether that works for everybody, that I don't know. But I was getting to a stage where I was like, no, you do no more craft fairs, they're a waste of money. Keep spending 20 quid on a table, you don't sell nothing, you waste your whole day there. But
I've never been to one. Well, I've been to one, but never sold any. I've been to one.
Terry, with your talk, mate, you'd sell everything on the table.
I did go to a boot sale once. My Ruth's grandmother died. So this is going back 40 years, I suppose. And we took everything from the house to the boot sale. And I even sold the table. We just got in the car.
You sold the car as well.
I nearly sold the car. We got in the car at the end. We'd sold everything, plus the table was standing up. Oh yeah.
I don't know.
Frederick's asked the standard question: what is a realistic price?
Well, that's the trouble, isn't it?
Oh, what's realistic to you? That's the thing.
And it depends where you are as well.
Yeah.
If you're in somewhere that's a tourist place, and you get a lot of Americans, Chinese, touristy people come that way, then I think you can charge a bit more for your work. But I think if you're going to a local craft fair, farmers market, I think you've got to be realistic in what the price rate is in your area.
Right, my realistic price, I charge either £35 an hour plus the price of the materials, or I charge nothing because I burn it. And that is it. There's no in between on that.
If you go to a country fair, say a 2-day country fair, and they tell you that you've got to pay £2,000 for the table or for your slot, no matter how big it is, for the 2 days, then you can pretty much guarantee they're charging the app because they know you're going to sell £4,000 to £5,000 worth if you take that amount of stock with you. If you go to somewhere where they say, it's £15 a table for the 2 days, then you can see the type of clientele that are going to go through there. Maybe not that much footfall, so you're not going to sell that much. And it might be worth paying the £15. And you'll say, I'm not going to pay £2,000 for a table. But I know somebody, a wood turner, who paid £2,000 for a table or a slot, 3 meter by whatever, and sold £8,000 worth in 2 days. So it was worth it.
Yeah.
But, that's the risk you take. And, you can't say his work was any better than any of us in this chat or in the podcast here. It's just
what just has to be in front of the right people.
It's just got to be in front of the right people.
And that's what it's all about. It's getting the right crowd through the door for
the trends of the markets at the time.
Yeah. If you're paying £2,000 for a stand for the weekend, you need to be having 10,000 plus people coming through them doors to at least then even 10% you got good sales, haven't you?
Well, I'll give you an instance. Hands up, everybody. Who would sell a pen for £85? Found him.
Not anymore.
I went to a show the other day.
It's got to be 3 to 4 figures now before I'd even consider making a pen.
Yeah, but I went to a show a country fair the other day. I can't remember the name of the house now. Bewley House or Bewley or Bowley or whatever it was called. Anyway, it was somewhere over near Rutland Water. For those that don't know it, that's sort of in the Midlands. And there was, I don't know, there had to be 10,000 cars in the car park by the time the day was out. 2 days it was. And I was standing with Ruth on another stall. I think it was jewelry or something she was looking at. I was just happily standing there. And next to us was a store, the guy selling pens. That's all he sold, nothing else. He just had a load of pens. That's all they were. And I heard this lady say, can I try that pen there? So I just looked around. I mean, we're talking about 10 feet away. Can I try that pen there? She said, I haven't used the fountain pen for ages. Certainly, he said. This one here's got ink in. Try that one. She's right. She said, that writes beautiful shit. I'll have that one. And he said, you don't know the price yet. She said, that's lovely. I'll have that one. How much is it? £85. By the time he'd finished talking to her and another person came along as well, he had a queue of people. And he must have sold 10 pens by the time we'd moved around the 2 tables. 10 pens at £85 a go. He was paying £2,000 a slot, mind.
The thing is, if you make a quality
but they were
pen,
selling,
If you make a quality pen, it's going to cost you 20 quid in materials.
Oh, yeah, I don't doubt they were. They're gorgeous. I nearly bought one.
You then put the work in to get it absolutely perfect. Well, you're looking at 50 quid. Now you want to make a profit. So 85 quid is the starting price.
Yeah.
Now I made thousands of pens and I sold them for 25 quid a piece back in the day. I was making a profit and I was making a fair amount of money, but I got so bored. I was just turning them out, and I had a mass production line going for them. I gave my pen making stuff to Brian, so I'm not able to make pens anymore.
I remember the day, and then Brian said,
"I
don't have a pen. Thinks I can't make pens." 2 days later, it arrived in the post.
I have a reputation for selling pens at 25 quid at the time, so I need to break that. And I will make a pen again, but when I make a pen, it's going to be ebony. It's going to be the absolute top. Works inside it. It's going to be perfect. It's going to cost me £100 to make, and I'm going to be selling it for £500-600 minimum.
Yeah.
Now I might sell that one. I might get another order. That means I've got to make 3 pens a year, not 3,000 pens a week. That makes me happy.
Yeah. But the thing is, if that person who's selling them pens for £85, that might only make 2 a day. If he's getting such a good finish on them, the time you've turned them, polished them, assembled, you might only make 2 to 3 a day. So, you know what I mean, he's got to charge that sort of money to make.
But he was selling them, and they were beautiful. And that's all he was selling. He didn't have anything else. He didn't have other knickknacks or things like that. He was just selling a big store, 3.5 meters by whatever, full up with thousands of pens.
That might be the same chap who's usually selling them every year.
That was his business, you know. That's what he does.
Thing is, he might not even make them. He might buy them off of somebody else.
He may not even make them. I didn't ask him. He was too busy. He had a crowd of people around him by the time we'd gone.
And usually find when you got a craft store, if you get one or two people, that draws in other people. Nobody likes to be the first person at the store, do they? Or the stand.
No.
So they'll have a look. They'll have a look over from a distance, and then if there's somebody there, people usually mingle in at the same time. Then they normally sort of work their way in.
What Henry's saying, he sold 4 pens. They were the Deer Hunter pen kits from Penn State Industries. They said the lady bought the kits and I made $50 a piece. Well done. Well, then that's good. That's fair enough. That's what it should be about.
Half day's work or a couple of hours work. I mean, I turn streamline pens, and you could normally turn one of those hour and a half maximum. Yeah, 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but that's the finish on them. What takes the time.
Yeah. You still got to actually glue the tubes in and on.
Yeah, you got to drill your blanks.
Yeah, if you batch them up, then you spend a day and just cutting your blanks and drilling your tubes.
Yeah, that's what I do. I normally get 20 or 30 to get kits together. Take all the tubes out of them, drill all the blanks, and then I'll just spend a week or so every now and again just turning a pen.
Good evening to Archie. He's joined us.
Hi, Archie.
Bannockburn.
Hope you're well.
But inspiration is a big thing, and things like the YouTube challenges that pop up every now and then. Whether you actually put into the challenge or not, you see something and you think, "Oh, that looks fun. I'll have a go at that."
Yeah.
I mean, I picked up on the 5-minute goblet, and that when I do a demo now, I start with a 5-minute goblet. I'm down to 3 minutes and 20 seconds, I think, the last one, to turn a goblet. It's rubbish, but it's fun. Now, I didn't get told about that until I did a proper goblet on a video, and somebody said, "Have you seen this?" And I went back, and it was about 4 years out of date when I first heard about it. But I've adopted it. I love it. It's a challenge, and I do it in the workshop when I'm here. I've got a scrap of wood left over.
Just turn
the
a goblet.
With a 5-minute goblet, it can't be more than 4 inches long, because otherwise you need to stabilize it, and you haven't got time for all that. It needs to be stable in itself. So it's 4 inches long. So there's bits of scrap all over my floor. There's a piece there. There's a piece there. I can pick them up and do it. And I just do that, and I do it against the clock all the time, see how fast I can go. And it makes a mess. I like making a mess.
Mm-hmm. And that's what keeps you inspired, because it's having a go at something different.
Yeah.
And the thing is, of course, it makes your wrists supple and all the rest of it before you start actually creating a living. can't just come straight back in sometimes.
Yeah, we're not all quite as old as you, Terry.
My arthritis plays up, so I've got to loosen it up first. Yeah.
I turned just over 1,000 pence before I got bored. I think I'd be over. I don't think I'd get to 100, to be honest.
Well, I've turned 2 pens. I bought a pen thing from Axminster, one of these, slide adjustable rubbish, whatever. Mandrill, yeah. And they sent me 3 pen kits. So I turned 2, one for Nicholas and one for Ruth.
You haven't turned the third one yet?
No, still outside. That was get on year and a half. Well, I lived in Plymouth at times. That's 2 years ago, at least.
What you need is to inspire. You need a nice resin blank. That's what you need.
No, you sent me 6 resin blanks. I'm happy to send them back. Still got them.
Oh, you can turn a Finno out of them. You can turn a
the drawer. I might turn a Finno actually. Yeah, yeah. Well, I've got Ruby's put a picture on Facebook of what's it called? Little birdhouse on a wire. I haven't got any wire. That's the trouble. I'm gonna have to go and get some.
Actually, Ruby's quite a source of inspiration.
I thought that was really nice. So I'm gonna copy her. I won't mind.
Some of the intricate stuff Ruby does, I can't do. She's just way ahead of me. But
you can do. It's just time and dedication. That's the thing.
If you ignore the painting of it, a lot of stuff that Ruby does, it's great fun to try and copy it. So look at Ruby's pictures. Try and figure out how she did it. I mean, that's one of the things that fascinates me most. Is
how did she do that?
See a finished piece and think, how was that done? And then you stick a piece of wood on the lathe and you try to figure out how it was achieved. And Ruby can certainly challenge you on that one.
Yeah. Very talented lady. For sure.
Roy says I should try thread chasing them. What you mean the blanks? The
resin.
Can you? I don't know. I've never tried it. Can you thread
trace
resin?
I can't see why not. It's only plastic.
I'll have a go.
It's plastic, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll send you a nice size block that you can make a pot out of, Terry.
Don't know about that.
Yeah. Well, if you send it to Brian, Terry,
he can turn the pot.
When you get it, send it to Brian. He can turn it. Send it back to.
Well, I know. When I was over in Ireland, I taught it to thread chase as well, so he can do the lot, and I'll watch the video.
Better, yeah.
Yes, I might be copying yours this week. I can get out of. Well, it's 2 days' time. Some wire, Ruby. I like that little birdhouse you made. It's gorgeous.
But Ruby, I am not even going to attempt the spiky ball that is smaller than a 2-cent piece. I can't see that small.
That's the problem, isn't it? When you get to an age, you're like, what am I looking at?
Yeah. Where's the lathe?
Yeah, Rob's got a good point. Look, Rob says as a newbie, he finds that a pen is a good project as practice, and I've used wood and resin, which is good.
Yeah,
it's good practice with a roughing gouge.
Pens are a very practical thing you can use.
Afterwards,
they're a good thing to make. I just made too many, and I just I don't know, burnout on it, and I just couldn't even look at one now. But I will, because I do thoroughly enjoy doing it when you do it to the highest quality.
Yeah.
But to do it to the highest quality means it's got to be at the highest price.
Yeah, because it's the time and all the rest of it.
Yeah, that's the finish.
Maybe one day.
That's the finish that takes the time on a pen. Turning it to shape is minutes, but it's getting that nice non-radial marks out of it and getting it all perfect. So when you hold it in the light, it's absolutely perfect.
Ruby says,
Ruby's
I don't know how to make. She'll track them down.
Track them down, yeah. So Ruby travels all over the road, tracking them down.
So what you're saying, Ruby, is you're a stalker. Is that what you're saying?
You're a stalker, yeah. Stalker Ruby. Turn anything Ruby likes, why not? She'll be at your doorstep next week.
Well, I'm very pleased you do, Ruby, because that means you pass through the UK every now and then we get to meet you. So
exactly. Yeah. Which I still haven't met you yet, Ruby, so you need to come this way. There. Right, I think we've extinguished that one.
Oh, well done.
Are we keeping you up, Terry?
Yeah. Got up early this morning.
Right, so Pete's question was, I think we've actually hit on it a little bit, but we'll bring it up anyway.
We've covered some of this, but...
what do you do with the items you turn?
Yeah, what do you do with them? We know some of you sell them.
We've sort of covered this a little bit, but one of the problems with turning is when you turn 50 bowls and they're in a box or on a shelf behind you, where's the inspiration to turn the 51st? Now, if you can sell your stuff, that's brilliant, because you can say, okay, I've got to make some more now because I've sold it all. But you can't keep everything you turn.
No.
So what do you do with it?
Look in my
Now,
house.
I've got a reputation that if I don't like it, it comes from my lathe. Halfway up the garden, there's a wood burner. It doesn't get any further than that towards the house. What you don't necessarily know is that if I've made it and I love it and I've taken it to the house and I've taken it to the shop and they say, no, we don't want it, and I put it online and nobody buys it, it also goes on that fire. So even stuff that I absolutely adore, when I make it, sometimes I just burn it. And the reason is, if I've got too much of the same thing in the house, I've got no inclination to make something else. Which is, I said, when I do production work, that's not an issue, because I make it, I sell it, it's gone. I don't, well, I do actually. I got that one of my production pieces.
What is it?
Which,
Lipo.
no, it's a pendulum.
Can't see it. Oh yeah.
It's comes apart like that. It's threaded onto a cord, and it's used in spiritual healing. I make loads of them. I've got that one because that's a new design and they wanted me to practice it, so that's why it's there. But I don't keep any of those. They go out the door. They're sold. When I've got free time in the workshop, I make a bowl. I love making bowls. I love making shavings on the floor. So I love to make bowls because they make the most shavings.
Yeah, that's what I like. Shavings.
And you got that piece left on the lathe at the end, which is a problem. Because sometimes you can get carried away and you can turn that away to nothing. But other times you get left this piece on the lathe that you've got to do something with. And what do you do when you've got too many of them? Over to you.
But according to Pete's last video, he's now found a way of using the blank and then restoring it back to its original form.
Oh yeah, take it back to the plank. Yep, the reverse switch.
So you need to watch that reverse bowl turner.
It's quite good actually.
Right, so Doug Miller's put, I have 2 stores I sell from, also give many away as gifts, weddings, retirement, etc. Yeah, but you've only got so many friends, Doug, that's the trouble. And then they see you walk down the drive, they go, oh, he comes again with another bloody
Yeah, they don't become a friend anymore. They become they just disappear and you never see them. Well, I haven't seen you for months. Why is that then? Well, you keep giving me blinking things, that's the trouble.
Alan Gibbs got a comment there. He's never sold an item. He's made hundreds and given them all away. Family and friends. Just loves the wood turning. Absolutely fine.
Yeah, that's me too.
That's the key thing. As long as you keep enjoying the wood turn, that's the key.
Yeah, that's me. I love it.
So Rob's I put in the loft, and when I fall off the purchase, sometimes that's a problem.
Good point. Yeah.
They're going to sell the house. You can have the house for £120,000, but the bowls in the loft are going to be another 30 grand. So Ruby says,
well, Ruth's going to inherit all mine, and if she don't, the kids will. Simple as that.
That's very
cool. Ruby's got a good one there. She gives them to the folks in the nursing home. There was a thing, I can't remember who it was. We did a charity thing, and one guy was turning tiny little bud vases, putting a couple of wildflowers on them, and going around the hospital car park and standing on tops of nurses' cars.
Wow.
I thought that was a really sweet thing to do.
Yeah, definitely. Just to appreciate all the hard work.
Yeah. That was during the COVID lockdown and all that. Yeah, that sort of thing I like.
So some pieces take that much time and effort to make. It makes them impossible to sell. But again, they're only worth the value you think they're worth. If we all price our work correctly, none of us would sell anything, would we?
Well, that's actually another solution to the problem. Because Brian does this. Brian will make a vase in an hour. He'll then spend 3 or 4 weeks texturing it and finishing it, and cutting it, decorating it up. So that one vase will give him weeks of entertainment. My next door neighbor builds guitars. the first guitar he built cost him £2,000 because he had to tool up and so on and so forth. He's now got the price down. He's made several guitars now. I've got one of them. He's got the price down to around about £600 or £700. His logic is, if he wasn't in the workshop building his guitars, he'd be down the pub spending that same money, or on a holiday somewhere spending that same money. So it doesn't really matter what it costs, because he would spend the money anyway. Just this way he spends it, and he's in the workshop.
Yeah.
And I like that logic. That works for me.
He keeps his mind occupied.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that.
No, none at all.
But he's going to hit the same problem that there's only so many guitars you can put in a room before it starts to dominate.
Yeah, exactly.
Archie said, good evening, Archie's joined us. Archie says, I do wig stands for the local hospital in the charities for, obviously, for cancer patients that lose their hair.
I've done a few of those, yeah.
Yeah, I've done a few as well.
And it makes you feel good when you do them.
It does. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. See, I've got a problem. My wife likes it. She'll come in here, and I've got a bin down there, which is when I've parted a piece off, the piece comes out the chuck, I chuck it in the bin. She'll come down and pick it up and say, oh, I like that. Can I have it?
Yeah, Bruce the same.
And I've got around to saying, no, you can't. Or if a piece breaks on the lathe and she says, oh, that's beautiful, I want to keep it. No, you can't have it. It's got to be burnt.
Ruby says that she enjoys the teaching of it. Well, yes, I do too. It's lovely. I like the local club I go to. We have a workshop night, every hands-on night on the first Tuesday of every month. And we have 5 or 6 lathes out, and there's lots of people that are not experienced turner, and they come along, and I like to see the smile on their face when they go away and they've made something that they didn't think they could ever do. Yeah. Lovely.
I used to enjoy teaching, but that brave bloke over there, he made me do that. And apparently, under the rules of this, you're not allowed to hit people with 2x4s anymore. It's completely spoiled teaching for me.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, unfortunately.
Listen to me, boy. Listen to me. That's like that young lad when you came to our open day, Terry. That young lad. I mean, the grin on his face was.
Well, to let everybody know, Steve was demonstrating. There was a fair, the club had a craft fair, and at the other end, the wood turning club had a lathe up there, and Steve was doing a couple of stints wood turning. And there was a young lad there. He must have been, 12, 15, 14?
Yeah, 12, 13, something like that.
Something like that. And he was sitting there with his mouth open, And then Steve, just about to finish making a little bowl or whatever it was, I said to him, Steve, this little guy here, look, get him up there, get him doing something. The face on him, the smile, beaming ear to ear, he was. His mother was watching. He couldn't believe that he'd actually
videoing it on Facebook
and took it home. Unbelievable.
Yeah, they both signed up
that,
to our beginner
to
course
me,
now.
that was a week's turning worth there, because that made his day. It made my day watching it, and it made Steve's day teaching him.
Yeah. And the good thing is that's the sort of people we want coming into the
craft.
That's
a new club member in 3 years' time, when he's old enough to say, I'm off to the club, Mum, Unless Mum brings him now, of course.
Well, they're both signed up to our next beginners course, so.
There you are. So that's it. That's 2 news.
And Terry Bartlett says that they're bringing in more tutors tomorrow.
Tutor assessments.
More people that are told that they can't hit people with 2x4s.
Yeah, that's it. Well done, Terry. How many being done, Terry? Just my interest.
That must be nearly all of Plymouth Woodturners must be tutors by now.
Well, we did. I think we had when I left, we had 6 of us. Because.
But saying that, I just imagine they're members from.
They come from all over Devon and Cornwall.
Yeah.
I did the tutors badge a long time ago, and then I just didn't do teaching. I just let it slide. So I redid it again earlier this year with Mark, because he was doing Dan, who works at Yandles. So it was at Yandles. Dan had the lathe there, and I just said, I'll jump in and I'll do it again. So I've actually done it twice now. And so far I haven't used it yet. So I am teaching somebody next week, but it's an experienced turner, so it's not in the same vein.
No.
Well, so far this year, I've assessed 8, 9 this year so far,
It's good.
and there's lots more to come.
Yes, Roy, we
The
do.
Ruby's got a
Ruby's-
good question there. What's
Yeah,
your
what's your
favourite finish
favourite
for cedar?
for cedar?
I wouldn't know. I don't know.
Right, the cedar that's on the shingles of my workshop roof is unfinished. Because that's gone nice and silver
Polyurethane.
grey, and it's doing its job fine because there's no water in here.
Do they stay? Do they not crack if they dry out that much? Will they not crack open and let water through? Or
Can do.
They kind of dry into fibres like thatch.
right? Okay.
And it kind of works
Bit
in the same way.
resinous,
Those fibres
cedar.
wick the water down and away. So yes, they do dry, but as long as you don't damage them, they stay perfectly fine. And as I said, well, the workshop I built in 2009, just after I got out of hospital, I built this. And the roof went on there early 2010. It's been there ever since. It hasn't leaked or anything else. So,
The Americans and the Canadians use cedar shingles all day long, don't they? On their houses.
Yeah. Well, this is actually a Scandinavian design that I built my workshop, but it's the red barn you see in the middle of the prairie in all the American and Canadian westerns.
Yeah.
That's the design of it. So it had to be a cedar shingle roof. But cedar in a finished piece, I prefer an oil because it's quite a soft wood, and it soaks up oil very nicely.
Just his recreation says he uses lacquer
so
or
I would
wax.
go for something like a lemon oil. Yeah, so lemon oil would be probably my favourite choice for it, or citrus burnishing oil, either one.
Well, Chisky says he uses lacquer or wax on cedar, and Dances with Ardovac says he likes a plain shellac stroke French polish cedar. I'm used French polish for about 40 years.
I suppose it
Beautiful
is. Well,
finish.
I suppose it depends really on what you're going to use the cedar for. If it's going to be a table, then it wants to be a nice finish, doesn't it? If it's going to be paneling or cladding on a wall, that's going to be more.
Cedar would be a bad choice for a table because it dents really quite easily.
Oh, does it? Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, I mean,
you could make a red cedar bowl, or you could make which is because it's gorgeous colours in it. What would you finish that with?
It's not particularly structurally sound wood. It's quite soft. But I mean, it'd be great for the framework, but not for the top.
Ruby's thinking of what should she use for red cedar. So that's going to be a turning of some sort.
So
you make tables,
Williams put shit.
Yeah, Williams agreeing with me, lemon oil.
I have a friend that's cutting down an old elderberry tree in a few weeks.
Oh, Roy,
save me a piece.
Save me a piece.
The pith on it will be hollow. Even if it isn't quite hollow yet, it will be once it's dry. And possibly fall out, leaving you a hole of around about
depends how thick it is.
6 or 7% of the size of the piece.
Is that classed as a fruit tree or is that classed as a
elderflower? Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably more of a shrub than a tree, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's more of a shrub. I don't know how much thickness you're going to get on that, Roy, because
I've had elderberry
like a weed,
5-inch diameter. As I said, it does. The pith does go very, very porous and very hollow, and will fall out. But if you've got 5-inch diameter, you can cross grain and solve that problem. If you're working at end grain, which because it tends to be thin, you tend to do a lot. It's a wine tree. Yep.
It will be when Roy cuts it down because that's all he will do is whine about it.
Yeah. Henry says all the finishes in his area have other chemicals in it. It's nothing natural anymore. We'll just grab some beeswax off somebody.
What area are you in, Henry?
You know.
I know the Americans tend to be quite unlucky with the finishes they get offered. there seems to be an awful reliance on chemicals over there. It's either chemical or it's unadulterated, one extreme or the other.
I thought the Americans were really against chemicals. I thought that was like a big no-go over in America.
It's only in California.
Oh, right, okay. So I take it Alan's asking if the elder tree is the same as monkey puzzle.
It kind of is, yeah.
Family's in Mississippi. I was in Mississippi the other day.
Well, it wasn't the other day. It was a few weeks ago.
Wow. Well, actually, I was in New Orleans.
Like Tuesday, last Tuesday, I was in Mississippi.
Yeah, and no, I was up in Mississippi when I was in New Orleans.
We are talking about 6 months ago now, Terry.
Yeah.
Is it 6 months ago? I'll need a bloody holiday. I can tell you that then if it's that long ago. Oh, I've been on one since. I forgot.
Yeah, United States.
A couple of weeks ago.
They use we are lucky when we say Danish oil in this country from any manufacturer. You can count on it being around about 60% of tung oil, with a bit of thinners, and a few
the stabilizer and a few other bits
stabilizers and things. Yeah, but it's 90% decent oil. In America, Stumpy Nubs. I love watching Stumpy Nubs. He was saying that some of their Danish oils, given that Danish oil has got nothing to do with anything, it's a made-up name. Some of their Danish oils can have something like 3 or 4% of tung oil, and the rest is chemical and any other oils they can find cheaply. So we're quite lucky in the UK. We take it for granted that it's going to be reasonable. Over there, you got to be a bit more selective about what you buy. See, boiled linseed oil is a big thing in the States. We get it here, but it's.
I've got boiled linseed oil. I use it quite a bit.
It's not as common over here.
B&Q used to do it years ago.
If we get boiled linseed oil, we tend to buy it as boiled linseed oil as opposed to a base ingredient for other things.
Yeah.
You used to use that on hardwood furniture, didn't you? Garden furniture years ago.
Yeah.
And it works. Yeah. I think I've got a huge great pot of it somewhere.
Yeah, now Doug Miller's also in the States and he's quite good on his finishes. So
yeah, I did just put a message in there for Henry to contact Doug and they get it from.
Yeah, Doug's played with a lot of finishes, so he's a good man to talk to.
He's on the ball, as they would say.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, we are lucky in the UK in that we mostly have good quality finishes available to us under generic names and relatively cheap. Nothing's cheap, but I mean, actually, oil lasts a long time, so it works out pretty cheap on the number of items you use it.
It does. So anybody use this Oddies oil? It's supposed to be brilliant, but it's very expensive.
I've got some.
I haven't used it yet, but I'm thinking of.
I always think it's got a nasty shine
or whatever.
I don't like the shine on it. It's not got a true shine on it, has it? It's like a.
Here's me Oddies oil. Now I got that half price up. I only paid 40 quid for it. It's supposed to be 80.
That's what I'm saying.
And I've used half an inch of it. I think if you're doing flat work, it's wonderful because it is very easy to apply and very easy to knock up to a reasonable finish.
And it goes a long, long way, apparently.
But I've got a 3 horsepower motor here, so I don't care how easy it is to apply or how easy it is to polish it because I've got 3 horsepower to make it polish. So I don't find it particularly useful on the lathe, but if I was doing more flat work, I would find it very, very good. But I also have another oil here, which I can't show you because it's not on the market yet, which is going to be coming from Yorkshire in very, very near future.
Okay.
Which is considerably cheaper than Oddies, and it's bloody good. I've got a bid in for a job for 1,000 pieces of old floorboard being turned. And obviously that's going to be horribly dry and it needs feeding. And this new product does it beautifully. Can't say any more about it yet, but it's coming soon.
You heard it here first, guys. You heard it here first. We'll have Pete back when it's on the market. We'll have Pete back to show us.
Yeah, I'm just involved in testing it, but I'm not making it or selling it. But very soon.
Alan Gibbs put about, I have oldies oil, but it leaves a very dull finish. Obviously, you're not buffing it enough because I thought it left a nice high shine.
Yeah, I think
It does
it's
leave
quite
a high
shiny.
shine. Do you use buffing wheels on it, or do you?
I think if you turn up, if you get a bit of heat in it, that's what causes the shine. A bit like
it is one of those that does need time.
Accident. Oh, right.
You got to put it on there. You got to give it 20-30 minutes before you buff it. It does need time.
Is it a bit like Canuba where you get a bit of heat in it to buff it all up?
Not really, no, because it's designed. It's sold as a floor wax,
right?
So it needs to be polishable by a floor polisher.
Yeah.
But it needs time to dry. It needs to settle in, dry, let it go semi-hard, and then you buff it.
Okay.
And it's the same on the lathe. You've got to put it on there, and then you've got to wait. Whereas Canuba wax, as long as you get the heat in there, you can work it straight away.
Yeah. So there you go, Alan. You need to let it breathe a little bit first.
Yeah.
Dance's Lordvark says that he's got some really old, which is dark, some maybe 10 years old, which is amber. New stuff tends to be yellow for boiled linseed oil or linseed oil. Well, linseed oil will go dark if you open the bottle and then you don't use it for a while.
Most
it tends to oxidize. It oxidizes.
Yeah.
The oxygen tends to get at it.
Give it a try, Alan.
Unboiled linseed oil's got additives in it, which will keep it soft forever. I've got some ordinary linseed oil which I use for oil painting. I've had some for 60 years in bottles, and I've still got them. And you can still.
You've had a question from each of the three of us. Yeah. Let's have a question from the audience. Let's have a discussion topic from the audience.
Keep it clean.
One of the first three that comes up.
Keep it clean. We're before the watershed.
Cleanish.
We've only got a minute to go and you can swear. Bloody hell, look at that. It's 2100. Bloody hell, it's 2100. Bang on 9 o'clock.
Bang on.
Bang on.
But yeah, I mean, we can natter away all night about
what we think,
different finishes and stuff. But a question from you guys would be really appreciated.
But what happens to your turn-ins, everybody? Not all of you have told us.
Here we go, Frederick Day. Let's pick this one first. What are the advantages of boiled linseed oil as opposed to unboiled?
Well, unboiled will never dry. Unboiled will never dry. It will always stay wet.
When they sell mineral oil over here for butcher's blocks, chopping boards, etc., it's actually a paraffin oil. It used to be sold as a laxative, but it won't hurt you. But it never dries, which makes it very, very easy to reapply. And unboiled linseed oil is the same. You put raw linseed on there, it stays liquid forever. So as soon as you put it in hot water, it's gone. You boil it. They don't actually boil it anymore. They add chemicals to it, and those chemicals cause it to polymerize, which makes it same effect.
Same effect as boiling.
Same as tung oil or other oils that naturally polymerize. Walnut, I believe, polymerizes naturally, but it makes it polymerize, so it becomes hard. It goes like a varnish.
So
Dance's Lordvark says, what other crafts are good to use as a fusion project with turning?
Wow.
Burning, setting fire to things.
In
Romania.
Pyromania.
Not pyro, not pyrographic. Pyromania.
Pyromaniac, as you know.
So you got carving.
And there's something about fire in there, you know.
Yeah, it's something about fire.
Because you could burn your projects on the lathe, as we know.
Yeah. Oh. You got colouring, carving, texturing,
piercing.
Piercing. You mean if you're a good carver, you could turn a nice bowl and then carve it into a weave bowl effect, couldn't you?
Ruby got into turning in the first place because Ruby is a paintist.
An artist.
And she ran out of things to paint. So she started turning to make something to paint.
And then she started painting them.
And any art form that has wood as a basis, if you can do that art form, will work very well with turning. Because you can make interesting shapes that you can then embellish by doing whatever other form of craft you do on them.
Anything really? The only thing that limits your wood turning is your imagination. Yeah, I mean, I watch a lot of art stuff on YouTube, trying to inspire me to bring different effects to. I mean, you all know that I do quite a lot of colouring, so I like to try and find different colouring techniques to put on a surface. And what draws me at the moment is the pearlescent paint jobs they put on cars and that. So when you've got a bowl, it's maybe a green one side, but as you turn it, it changes into a gold or a yellow. You know what I mean? That them sort of effect. You mean if you can get something that's nice and finished wood on the inside, but on the outside it's like a pearlescent finish like a car. That must. You mean the satisfaction out of that must be amazing if you can achieve that quality.
Like Archie says, he used pyrography. He's a wood carver who turns.
I know an awful lot of people who started out carving and moved to turning, and the other way around. People that turned who now do carving because they can do it on smaller pieces of wood. My next door neighbour who makes guitars, he now does carving because the workshop's cold in the winter. So he sits in the house and carves.
Whittles.
Makes a mess.
I bet his
wife's very forgiving.
Oh, look at Ruby. Steve, look at Terry's new pyrography piece. Here you go. My first piece.
I did watch it. I watched it the other day when I was having my lunch. I watched a bit of it. See him do his Kingfisher.
Yeah. Maybe my last piece as well, mine, but.
Oh, Robert, I don't believe that. Everybody's got.
Everybody's used to do chainsaw carving. Now I tried.
I had a go at that. It was good.
But I do live in an urban area, and I do have neighbours. So I tried it briefly. I then switched to an electric chainsaw because I wanted to stay alive. But it doesn't really work so well with electric chainsaws.
No. I carved an owl once with a chainsaw.
Yeah, I'd love to do some more, but I need to find somewhere I can do it.
Tear the hoot doing that.
Some chap brought me this big chunk of wood and said, "Could you make me an owl out of that?" I said, "Yeah, I'll put it on the lid." He said, "Can you make me a Can you chainsaw it? I'm in a rush." So we sat in the back garden, or he sat in the back garden, and I chainsawed an owl. Off he went. 20 minutes later, he was delighted.
Right, we actually have a good discussion topic here.
Frederick
Day. Being facetious, what is the most useless tool you have in your workshops?
Here it is. Here it is.
I'm the useless tool. I'm the most useless tool. All the rest actually make things.
Confession time. What have you bought that you've never used?
Just quickly before we carry on that. Just quickly.
Yeah.
Ruby's got to go. See you later, Ruby. Thanks for coming over.
Thanks so much for coming in, Ruby. Day. Yeah. Love to see you.
Cool. I bought, must be over a year now ago. I bought the Paul Howard fluting jig from Simon Hope, thinking I'm going to do all these amazing fluted pieces with nice ribbons in them. And this, I've only ever used it once to practice with. It's my own fault. I wouldn't say it's not a useless tool, but it's something that I've bought, and I wish I'd have spent a lot more time on it. So it's a tool that really I didn't need to buy, but you know, I mean, it's not the total.
You haven't found a good enough use for it yet, though.
Yeah, but there's going to be a project when I think, right, that's what that's for. But at the moment, it's just I can't say I've got a tool that I think is useless in my workshop.
No, none of the tools are useless. Just some use more than others.
Yeah. Okay.
I've got hundreds of tools that are useless.
Right in front of me now I bought it having seen it demonstrated and having thought that looks fun. I bought myself a scroll saw.
Yeah.
I used it once. I broke the blade once, and it's been gathering dust ever since. It's not for me.
And I thought, I love a scroll saw. I'll get one of those. I've never bought one, never needed one, and I'll probably never use one because I haven't got one.
I saw some of the guys that we hang around with
thought I
on
might
this
get one.
YouTube thing using them, and I thought that looks fun. And I went to a Axminster store actually. And they had an open day, and they had 3 or 4 people doing scroll saw in there, and they were showing how they did it. And I thought that looks fairly
Where are you to buy it?
reasonable.
Yeah.
I could do that. Then I bought one. I used it once, broke the blade on the first cut.
What was that?
I did make a box with like keyways in it that you've got to do the puzzle to open the box. I did make that on it, but yeah, never since. So that was my lemon.
Yeah. Dances R says, which of your gouges or chisels looks at you longingly saying, please use me, but never do? All of my gouges except for the 3/8 gouge. Oh, maybe a half inch now and again.
William Kenny spent 200 quid on a fancy pen press.
Yeah.
William, you're
What's
so
that
good.
about?
Would you want to buy a bridge?
You should have said, William, because I could have given you a pen thing.
I use the vice in the workshop. I do.
Yeah, I do now. Press them in with the tailstock.
And Laurie's benchtop drill press, hopeless with it. Now, there
Depends
are
how.
benchtop drill presses, and there are pieces of rubbish that pretend to be benchtop drill presses.
Yeah.
Which one did you buy, Anne?
Yeah, if you're going to buy a benchtop work press or drill press, you need to buy a good quality one, because if not, that'll have an inch play in it as it comes up and down.
Unbelievable rubbish. Yeah, some of them. Robert Bortward says, thread chasing tool. But after next Wednesday, things might be different. Terry, yes, I am demonstrating at Ely Wood Turning Club in Ely next Wednesday evening. It is going to be about thread chasing, and I will dispel all the myths. Most of
Look at my gouge wall, tool wall here. I'm not good with scrapers. I'm really rubbish at scrapers. I've got a few scrapers here which I've never used. I'm trying to learn how to use them properly.
They're lovely,
but I'm just not good at them.
Practice.
But everything else on the wall gets used regularly.
Andy the Valley Wood Turner's in. Good evening, Andy.
Evening, Andy. Yeah, I can't.
Use a tailstock. Press pens in.
And
Dan's a rotor lathe. Made 2 things with it, and it is an inch thick with dust now. Not even a useful flat surface to put things on.
I looked at buying one of those a long time ago, because you can make spiral spindles now, can't you?
Yeah, and you make, what's the name, legs,
Yeah, I did look at buying one of those, because there was one on Marketplace for like 150 quid, and I thought, I'll have that. And I thought, hang on a minute, Steve, where would you put it?
You got a fluting jig. Yeah, you got a fluting jig
where
already.
Would you put it? Yeah, where would you put it? So that was one buy I did actually step back from.
And bought a Record Power benchtop lathe. They are reasonable quality. I would always recommend a floor standing drill press. Drill press. Always recommend a floor standing. I bought a benchtop, and it was 100 quid cheaper, and it was a mistake. But if I spent the extra 100 quid and got a floor standing one, it would have taken less space in my workshop. It would have been twice as useful. And it's a mistake I made, but mine is actually good. But what makes it good is I've got a 95mm quill movement, so I can drill a 95mm deep hole, and that requires everything to be beefy and strong to support that. So it's a good strong drill press.
Yeah, if you're going to buy a drill press, the quill needs to be at least an inch thick. And
Yeah,
you need a
1.5.
16 mil. You want a 16 mil chuck, not a 13 mil chuck.
Yeah.
If you got a chuck and a squill that sort of size, then you know
You got
it's
to
going to
pay
be
for the
fairly
quality,
accurate.
really.
You got,
You
you got a really good accurate one. I mean, mine's a bench top
And I
one.
bought
Mine's a
an
bench top one,
engineering drill press.
but you never lift it off the bench on your own. It weighs a ton.
No, I bought an engineering drill press, floor standing, but I did have an engineering drill press benchtop one, which I gave away to somebody, as Pete knows. And it's an engineering one. I didn't carry it. I couldn't carry it. I couldn't lift it. Pete had to lift it.
Yeah.
But the engineering ones are so bang on that, for what you'd pay that little bit extra for, you get what you pay for. The professor says he bought a
new workshop.
Banksia
I
pod.
advised the floor standing, and my neighbour, I advised him floor standing as well. It just makes so much difference to have that freedom of movement, the
accuracy.
You've got a 4-inch post at the back of it. It's not going to move anywhere. It just makes a big difference.
Rob's coming. He bought himself a Banksia pod. No idea what to do with it. Rob, don't give it to me.
Right, Rob. Next time you've got a club night, right?
Yeah.
Take it along and stick it on the raffle table and run away.
What's Frederick say? To demo thread chasing, you're either very good or bloody mad. I did a demo at Mrs. Thread chasing, and lucky I got away with it. Lucky or what? Well, Frederick, I do thread chasing demos in quite a few clubs, because I hate to say it, but I can do it. I'm good.
Susie the Swiss troublemaker said,
"She no, she's still here.
Brian, we can pour resin over it."
Yeah. Cool. And if you want his address, I can give you his address, Rob. Watch the demo on Shopsmith. Watch the demo. Was that? I watched the demo on Shopsmith in our mall in '89, and got a free woodworking book. Wish I could afford one to have it shipped. Oh, lovely. Burn it, Rob. See, William Kenny says the same. Burn it, Rob.
Burn it.
Doug Miller, great match. Yeah, match of a beginner somewhere in a little room.
I didn't realise that Record Power made a bench drill, to be honest, just going back to that.
Did they? I don't know.
Never seen one. No, I've never seen one. Mine's I bought one from B&Q 20 odd year ago, and it was 400 quid, I think, at the time, bench top one. And I had to move it a few weeks ago because I put a new bench top on the unit I had it stood on. Man, I thought I was going to have a hernia lifting it back up. I was already getting it down, but gravity didn't want to go up.
Well, I made mistakes with mine. Mine's a radial arm one, which I've never used. I thought at the time I was doing flat work in his workshop as well, but the workshop isn't physically big enough for flat work. You need a lot of space for clamping stuff together and waiting for it to dry.
Yeah,
I haven't got it. I thought it'd be nice to be able to make a nice deep throat on my drill press and drill holes at intervals. So I bought a radial arm. That was a waste of time. Never used it. But it's got a decent half horsepower motor on it. It's on the middle pulley because that's how it came. I've never changed it. I said it's got a 95mm quill movement on it, which is a godsend. That really does work. And if you put a 65mm Forstner bit in it, and you put it down to a piece of wood,
down.
Make damn sure you're holding that piece of wood properly and safely, because it's not going to stop.
Yeah,
it's going to go.
Won't stop.
If you can't hold it, it's going to pull it out of your hand and hit you around the back of the knuckles with it.
Exactly.
So it's a good drill press. It's just, as I said, it should have been floor standing, and I should have not bothered with the radial arm.
Yeah.
Well, we all buy stuff and learn.
Well, that's why I bought an engineer's one, because I was using the bench top for years, and the reason I gave it away, not because it was working, it was good working order, except it needed a bit of a clean, but I didn't want to carry it 300 miles the back of a truck.
Me and
try and lift it out of this end.
That within
2 minutes.
Getting it set up.
I just said you had to unscrew it and clean it. That's all it was.
Yeah.
The points were dirty.
Yeah, we got it fixed. But like you say, it was good, but it wasn't worth carting it to the other side of the country.
No, it wasn't.
What you've got now, the floor standing one is better because
it is
more flexible.
Yeah, it's 100% more flexible.
Well, that was a 3/4 when you had there, wasn't it, Terry?
It was.
It wasn't really a bench top. It wasn't really a floor standing. It was 3/4.
No, it's sort of 3/4.
Hobbit size. Hobbit size.
It was my size. Hobbit size.
Yeah,
I
it
had
was
a
a
little
Hobbit
stand.
size, yeah.
It was quite big, actually. Quite tall, but wasn't quite on the floor job.
You just got to remember as well with.
But it had a
pillar
4-inch
drill.
diameter or 3-inch diameter.
So I think it's 3-inch. I can't honestly remember
solid,
for sure, but I think it's 3-inch.
Yeah,
But
it was
the thing you got to remember.
Mark and I turned up to help Terry to find the back of his workshop.
Find the back of his workshop. But with
when
pillar
he was
drills,
moving house,
any good pillar drill will have a quill adjustment on it. So you can take the slack out of the quill.
Yeah.
So even the cheaper ones are gone, but if you mean they're not machined well enough to get them accurate. But if you got the quill adjustment, that should get rid of any of the imperfections in the movement of the quill coming down, and make sure you grease it as well. That's what not a lot of people do because they run inside that pulley system on the top there. They don't grease it. They don't grease it, so when they come down, they just wear. It needs to be well greased.
And they wobble.
Yeah.
And if you're trying to use like
good solid
if you're trying to use a 65 mil,
drill a hole straight.
Yeah.
And they need to be able to do things quickly because at the end of the day, you can drill stuff on the lathe if you've got the patience.
Yeah.
But if I'm doing light pulls, I still do a lot of light pulls. I mean, light pulls are great stock because you can fit 1,000 quid worth of stock into a shoebox. It's brilliant. So I still do quite a lot of light pulls, but I can drill 400, 500 light pulls in an hour.
Cheerio, Roy. See you in a week. I'll see you at the club.
Because my drill is just repeatable and I can just whack them down.
Either early, Roy.
I use a step drill, so I've got the 3 mil and the 6 mil, and it's just quick and easy. If I tried to do that on the lathe, it would take me ages.
Yeah.
Roy's got to go.
Cheers, Roy.
All right.
Well, I think we've answered the questions they put in.
I think we've answered the questions. I think we've been 3 turners talking twaddle. That's extra tea, isn't it?
Oh yeah, there is TTT does mean something, but they haven't come up with the right answer yet.
I'm just pouring another beer, so we're good for another half hour or so, people.
Yeah. Anybody else got any burning issues they want to talk about at this moment in time?
Well, normally the ointment will sort that problem out, but let's chat about wood turner.
They're all dried up, but
okay, so it's hot in your workshop at the moment.
it's hot everywhere. Well, maybe
how
not
do you
in
call your
Ireland.
workshop? I've got an ingenious system which I've been using for years.
Open the door.
What I do is I get a 2-litre lemonade bottle, I chuck it in the freezer and I freeze it. And down here by my ankle, I've got a fan, which I use just to keep the air moving. If I stick a bottle of frozen water in front of that, that makes the best aircon system you've ever come across.
Yeah.
The fans just said to move the shavings from under his feet. That's all the
it does keep it. So I stay at the same height of the lathe. But bottle of frozen water in front of a fan. When your workshop is hot, it's brilliant. So that's my tip for the night.
I've got 2 fans going at the moment, and I've got a big floor standing one, 22-inch floor standing one, and then I've got a desktop one in the other bit of the workshop. But even that just circulates the warm air about. It doesn't really do anything. It just keeps a bit of air circulation.
Well, take the tip, Steve. Get yourself a empty lemonade or whatever bottle. Doesn't matter what it is. Chuck it in the freezer. Freeze it to solid.
Make sure it's plastic.
Stand it in front of your fan. And that ice will last you all day. And you just chuck it back in the freezer again.
Good idea. I'll try that.
It makes a huge difference.
I'll try that. I'll find a bottle and I'll try that.
I just turn naked all day. Easy.
Oh my god.
Oh, Terry.
Good job I didn't have my tea yet, innit? What?
Look at that, like. That's woke them all up. They've all woken up now.
And you don't want to know where the shavings go.
No, they don't drop down my shirt and tickle. I'm telling you that.
Oh, dear.
Right, looks like they've all exhausted themselves. The professor's gone green.
Oh, down to the box. Have you got a magnum opus in mind you haven't got around to yet? Yes, I do.
What's a
I've got
magnum
the
opus?
plans.
What's a magnum opus?
It's something you,
A finale piece.
Oh, right.
Yeah. That you know you're going to do, but you haven't got around to yet.
I'm making a spinning wheel.
So am I. Funny that.
Yeah, I'm going to make.
And I haven't got around to it yet.
I've got plans to make one from 1940s, 50s time.
You're ahead of me. I haven't got the plans yet. I said to Ruth.
And I am going to make myself a spinning wheel. It's something I've always wanted to do.
Make a spinning wheel.
What the hell am I going to do with a spinning wheel when I've made it?
Exactly.
I have no idea.
Then you're going to learn to spin.
I will.
Then you're going to get the wool and learn to knit.
I'll probably burn it, but
No, you won't.
I'm going to make one first. Then I'll burn it.
Don't burn it. You can't burn it. Spending all those hours making it.
He won't burn it.
Yeah.
Lisa will say,
"How are you going to do with a spinning wheel?"
She'll say, "I love that," and that's it. She'll have it.
Yeah, but she doesn't do wool. She doesn't do sewing.
Not yet.
But if you do cooking, domestic stuff and Lisa don't go in the same sentence, right?
Yeah, but if you got her, if you made her a spinning wheel, then you could buy her a sheep for Christmas, and she'd have her own
field to put the sheep in.
And then you'd be constantly endowed with nice woolly fleece jackets and
for winter,
underpants and socks.
Down here on the floor, I've got this beautiful air compressor with a tank. It goes to a lovely air gun, which I bought for Lisa for Christmas because Lisa is an artist. She's a very good artist. And I bought it for Christmas many years ago. And it got put in the cupboard for, I'll get round to that one day.
Yeah.
Then I borrowed it for the workshop and I put it back. Then I borrowed it again for the workshop and it's still in the workshop.
So it's never going
so
back.
I won that one because I got brownie points for a nice Christmas present.
And you ended up with it.
And you got a tool that you can use.
Lisa's she's a brilliant artist, but she works in graphic design, so she does most of her art for work. So she doesn't actually want to do it for her leisure time.
At the end of work, she don't want to sit down for 2 hours doing art. She's doing it all day.
And she's completely undomesticated. When I first started dating Lisa, I went to her flat, and on her cooker there was a pot plant, like in a big green thing in a pot on top of the cooker, which kind of clued me into the fact that she doesn't do a lot of cooking.
Yeah.
6 months after she moved in with me, somebody said, "What colour is your oven?" and she couldn't tell them.
Don't know. It's just got a plant growing over it. Can't see it.
She's
Joe Andy.
She's not domesticated. So her chances of knitting anything are 0. So if I made a spinning wheel, it would probably.
And you could knit.
No.
I'm going to make a spinning wheel. I said, in fact, Ruth and I were talking about it about two or 3 days ago. I said, I'm going to make a spinning wheel. I saw a program on television.
Eric,
which was
before you do that, make a lamp.
A lamp?
Yeah.
You want a lamp
garden lamp for your wife.
A garden lamppost, mate.
Oh, Christ. I haven't sourced the wood for that, though.
Oh, come on,
you need a piece of wood about 8 foot long. Or 6 foot at least.
You can't get that in your life.
Buy yourself some 2x2s.
I'm not going to make it a 2x2.
Buy some 2x2s, knock the corners off the inside, glue them together, and then you've got a hole up the middle for the wire.
Yeah, no, I'm not worried about that. It's just then I've got to start turning them.
Yeah, it won't take you long.
I know it won't take me long. It's just the effort.
Easy job, mate. Easy job.
I want to turn a lamppost.
Come on, it'll make Ruth happy. I mean, come on.
What you should do is go down to the garden centre and buy some 4x4 garden fence posts and turn it out of that in sections.
Why don't I just go to somebody that's got a lamppost and buy one?
Actually, just go to an antique garden and buy a yard and just
Right,
get an antique one, an old metal one.
Yeah, lamppost. I want one of them. That's what she wants. So
William Kenny's ambition is
I've
to
got to make
Terry
it like that.
Cannon. And Terry has promised us a video on this.
Oh yeah, I'm going to do the drawings of that and a video on that.
Well, I hope you're gonna. Yeah, he just said that took him. He's been working on his first video for the last 2 years. So
yeah,
good luck with that one, William.
Well, there is a whole live, 3 days live on it, 3 Sundays.
there is, yeah.
But I could turn it into
and you kind of interpret
some
it in
sizes.
that.
I'll put it into a video and put some sizes on it.
Measurements would be nice.
I'll do that.
You should do it.
I will do it.
A drawing that you can send out to people.
I will. I'll try and start it.
Christmas.
Tell you what, I'll start it after the AWGB seminar in October because I'm tied up at the moment organising all that lot for the bits I've got to do. And there's quite a bit of work in that, so I'm a bit tied up with thinking about something.
Right, so you've got one from William, you got one from me, you got one from Terry. Steve, what's your big project?
Don't know. I haven't thought of it yet. I've still got 17 years at work, so I've got plenty of time to think about one.
Well, you can't do it when you're tired. You got to do it. You got to think about it and do it now.
All right, okay.
Something to go for.
I can't really think of anything. There's nothing that really.
Night Anne.
There's nothing that
Have you
really.
turned off the end of that lathe yet?
No, not yet. No, I have got a decent sized blank. I've got a 26-inch blank that I could.
Yeah, I think that's when you need to do, mate.
Because I need to drop that tail, that end piece down, don't I?
Put that down, that extra 5 inches or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Turn
and do an oversized piece on it.
The only trouble is if I turn off there, I can't video because I won't have no cameras down that end of the room.
You only need one.
You stand the cameras on a tripod. They all got tripod mounts on.
Well, that's all great, but they're all fixed to the wall.
But whether you video or not doesn't matter. At the end of the day, it's doing it that matters.
Yeah, I've got a piece of.
The only trouble you'll find with the 406 is when you've got a very heavy piece of wood on it.
Yeah.
When you turn it off, it'll take 5 minutes to stop turning.
Yeah.
So that's something you got to be aware of. I mean, when I did that big ash bowl, the 32-inch one, the shavings on the floor were about 2 foot deep. My sharpening system was past the piece of wood to the other end of the other corner of the lathe, and I didn't turn it off. So although it was never going over 100 RPM, it was running all the time. I was walking past it through these great pile of shavings. Because
and the problem you got there, of course, is
it took so long to stop. It just wasn't.
I couldn't lift it. See.
No. I mean that took me and Lisa. I lifted it. Lisa had to turn the spindle to put it on the thread. It was as much as I could do to lift that piece up.
Yeah, but I wouldn't be able to do that.
Steve's young and he's big and strong.
Nancy Lardvark says that one of his minds is something he'd like is to do is Ruby's whale tail piece. That's when she's carved it out, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doug Miller wants to rebuild his big bow lathe and turn something to max it out 24 inches.
Yeah, mine over the bed is 22-inch. That square platter I did that Mark gave me, that was 22-inch, yeah. And that was, it was missing the bed by about 3 mil. But if I come off the end, then I can obviously go quite a bit bigger than that.
What's the maximum? What's the maximum on the 406 off the end then?
Well, that was a 32-inch piece I turned on that big ash.
36.
That was 32-inch.
The maximum of mine, 508, is 36 inches off the end.
Yeah.
But you can turn it, of course, off the middle, slide it to the middle, turn it off, and use an external thing. You can turn the depth of your floor. So 6 feet, 8 feet, 10 feet, whatever. But of course, it'll go 1 revolution a minute, won't it? Because it'll be that unstable, you know.
Yeah. I mean, what's his name? The Swiss guy. Beer. He did a 5 foot diameter.
Wow.
It was a plank 5 foot long.
Yeah.
And turned bits into the plank.
Planks.
What he did is he set up a second lathe in front of the lathe So you're using the second lathe to run the tool rest, and turning off the main lathe floor to ceiling, basically.
Wow. That's taking some, you got to have an imagination to do that, ain't you?
Do that, yeah. Frederick says he loves his 406. Best lathe for the price. Thinking of buying another one. What, you're going to turn with both hands, Frederick?
I love my 406. I mean, Steve bought my 406 off me. I love the 406. I got seduced into the Zebrano, and I love my Zebrano as well. But the 406 was a brilliant lathe, and I'm glad Steve's got it because I know how good it is.
Matthias Benoffen beer.
Matthias, yes, that one, yes.
Hello, Lucy.
Yeah, it's a good lathe. I do like it. It's a good lathe. I must admit, I was a bit skeptical when I first got it, but it is a good lathe. Very good lathe.
Knock spots off the one you had.
Yeah, it's more
and
stable.
I'm not decrying the one you had. It just
no.
But the 406 is just
more stable.
It sits on the floor.
Yeah, it's stable. More stable.
It just does it.
And the thing what hands down beats it is that it's got a cast bed where my other one was on bars. So
yeah,
hands down.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, you need to do one off the end. I mean, you're going to be a bit. You probably won't go much more than 5-inch thick off the end because you're in the doorway there.
Yeah.
But you need to do a big diameter piece.
Yeah, that's I got that
big buy yourself a 508 and you can turn 20 inches over the bed. That's big.
It wouldn't fit in Steve's workshop, to be fair.
I know it wouldn't. Really.
That 406 is right.
Well, that'd fit in. It'd fit in if I moved. If I took the units out, that'd fit in.
Yeah. That 406 is right to the edge of the door.
Yeah,
because if I workshop, mind.
Yeah, because if I bring the tail stock to the end, the amount of times I walk through that door and smack my elbow on the tail stock is unreal.
Yeah.
Man, do I swear about that blooming thing.
So it is either that you close the door up and you come in from another way.
But at the end of the day,
there's a unit. There's a unit there. I've got a 400 mil. I could take a unit out, so I could get the 50s. But to be honest, do I need a bigger lathe?
No, of course you don't.
You know what I mean?
No.
But I'm hoping eventually, maybe if I stay here, to I've got 9 meters between the back of my workshop and the end of the garden. Well, 10 meters, but I want to keep it a meter away from the fence. So eventually, if I go more into teaching, then I'm going to build a studio down there, and that will be just for wood turning. So that can be made for whatever, can't it? So it doesn't really matter. But that's.
Can I just correct Frederick a minute? Frederick says the 406 is a 2 kilowatt version. There is a 3 kilowatt version, but the dust and shavings fill the spindle locking hole, which is bad design. Well, I've got that version, Frederick. It's the 508, and it doesn't fill it up. All you do is turn the speed up for about 2 seconds, and they all fly out because they can't get between the spindle and the bearings. So the dust disappears within seconds. So it's not a bad design, actually. It's a good design. And you can unlock it and turn it down so the spindle lock is level if you want to. It's just they've chosen to put it there because it's easier to get at.
No, at the end of the day, I mean, every lathe's got its pluses and minuses.
Of course it has.
Every
lathe.
I'm a big fan of the 406. I prefer it to the 508, I've got to say.
Evening, Rob.
Thanks, Rob, how you doing, buddy?
Nice to see you.
Rob, I haven't seen you in ages. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, no, it's good to see you, mate.
Yeah.
I prefer the 406 to the 508. I mean, I've used yours, Terry. I've used Mark's. The 406 is, in my view, it's got the edge. It's a beautiful piece of kit. But obviously it's got, it's 40 it's 40 centimeters, so 16 inch over the bed. The 508 is 50. It's got the extra 4 inches of turning space.
See, what I like about mine is it's the long bed with the extension on it. Then I can turn anything I want, like, a lamp.
Yeah, but I mean, Steve's got the extension on that one.
And I could put another extension on the other end. So
the only trouble is at Steve's workshop, that bed is just 2 inches past the door frame on the way in.
So really
just at the right height to catch your hip as you walk through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Whereas,
it is close to the
don't have a
door frame.
problem
It
with
is close to the door frame. But you
You
learn.
That's
You
just
learn.
that's just design, though. Really, that's not because
You
you
learn.
designed that workshop to fit your other lathe.
Well, I had a steel lathe where that one is. It used to be a steel
Yeah.
lathe, which was smaller than what, and my other one fitted in. You know, I designed that area. That's why I put a unit where I put it. So my other lathe was close to the door. I
Yeah.
never even dreamt that I was going to change lathes. You know what I mean? Well,
No.
not for a long time. But anyway,
No,
But,
it's
if you revamped your workshop, then it would fit.
Hmm.
Because you could
every lathe does what it
put it
does.
where all your equipment is, all your computers and everything, all that on that bench. That your lathe could go there,
Yep.
and the other equipment could go on the other side where the lathe is now.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rob, size is important.
Size is always important.
So, yeah.
If it's too big, it don't fit. If it's too small, you can't do it.
Yeah. I agree.
Difference between tears and moaning. That's what it is.
A Moser
Good
Brano
job.
is a lovely lathe. And I could drop the extension, hang on, probably 7, maybe 8 inches to turn a huge piece over the end of that extension. But when I put that extension on, it took me and my son is same size as me, but younger and fitter, to hold it. And my neighbour, who was doing the suicide monkey bit of standing underneath it whilst we were holding it, putting the bolts in. So adjusting it is not really an option. In fact, Steve helped me load it into the van.
Yes,
Steve carried the bed of the lathe on his own to the van, went back to pick up the extension and asked me to help because it was
the
too
extension
heavy.
was weighed more than the actual lathe.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, the problem you got though is if you turn a 50, a 40, a 36-inch, whatever diameter piece of bowl or whatever, what the hell are you going to do with it?
Exactly.
I
That.
showed mine to
Unless
her.
somebody
I
says,
went into
Pete, Terry, whatever, make me a 36-inch
Yeah.
bowl and I'll give you $2,000. Okay, that might be worth a thought, but
Yeah, mine's got sold to a hotel. It's in the lobby of a hotel.
that's fine. But you've got to have somebody want it.
It's not something that's going to fit in anybody's house. So finding a buyer, as Terry says, it is difficult for a big piece.
They got to come to you and say, "Can you make me this?"
But you have to do the big pieces every now and then. That big one I did, that cost me 200 quid for a new exhaust for the van.
Yeah, that's it.
Because I picked it up from a friend in Brecon who lives about a quarter of a mile off of the road, and you have to drive down a mountain to get to the road. And it weighed my van down so much that the track you had to get down ripped the exhaust off. So that cost me 200 quid. I drove back from Wales to Bristol with no exhaust on the van, which luckily I got away with, so I didn't get a ticket on top of the 200 quid.
Yeah.
And I then had to buy a new suspension for the van the next year because it kind of destroyed it.
And then, of course, you had all the stress and strains of your health, picking it up, the aches and pains.
Yeah, but it was worth it. I mean, it's the one on my intro. If you look at my intro, there's a stupid big.
I've turned a 20-inch diameter over the bed of the lathe, and that was fine. That's enough for me. I don't need to turn it.
You've got to do it. I mean, you've got to do something stupid.
That's fine. I've done it. Well, at the moment, I need somebody like you there to lift the bed extension down to the other bed.
Yeah.
Well, no, you can build a little platform to sit on.
Well, actually, the chair I sit on.
Yeah.
I put the bed extension onto the roof and I lifted it onto there, and then I pressed the button and we pushed it up, and it was the right height to slide it in, put the bolts in, because I couldn't lift it, and she couldn't lift it and put the bolts in.
Doug said he wants to turn a 24-inch bowl as a signature piece to draw attention. It would have a price tag in case someone with more money in the pocket and sense in the head. I tell you what, Doug, I did one. It wasn't that big a diameter. It was, I think it was 20-inch diameter. It was about 10-inch deep. It was a root ball, and in one part of it, it was 2 inches thick, and the other part of it was 2 millimeters thick.
Wow.
It was an odd shape, full of colour because it was a root ball and it had all sorts of mineral stains in it. It was lovely. And I said to Lisa, I need a centerpiece for my stand. I was at an art fair. I need a centerpiece for my stand. Do you mind if I take that one? And she said, well, as long as you don't sell it. I said, that's cool. So I took it and I said to the person I was at the stand with, what sort of price should we put on this so it won't sell? And they came up with a silly number, and I said, yep, we'll double that. So we put a double silly number on it. And then I had to explain to Lisa that I came home without it because somebody bought it. And not only did they buy it, it was 28 quid over. It was basically I priced it at 628 quid. They had 600 quid in their pocket, and they went to the bank and got the other 28 quid because they wouldn't pay less than 628 for it. But
you should have said 1,000.
I could have put 1,000 on it. I mean, I did trembler. I've got a trembler that I love, which is not that long. It's about 15 inches long. But I did it. I love it. I put that on sale for 1,500 quid because I didn't want to sell it.
Some idiot bought it.
No, somebody actually offered me the 1,500 quid, and I turned them down and said no. Because I was desperate to keep that one. But this one, it was only Lisa I had to explain it to.
Yeah.
He said, Lisa, I'm not coming with your bowl, but here's your $12.99.
Yeah. I sold it for 50 quid, darling. Take you out for a meal, and there you go. Yeah. Back up.
Very good.
Excellent.
But yeah, I think everybody's got to turn a big bowl. So go for it, Doug. Turn that 24-inch bowl.
I had enough bashing and beating and thumping around, turning the 36.
The thing with the big out of balance is you can't get the speed, so you've got to move slow. Your tool has got to move slowly to compensate for the fact the lathe isn't going fast.
Yeah.
To get a decent cut, it's all about relative contact.
Frederick's just said, I've just turned a 6-inch diameter, 8-inch deep ash bowl. I haven't a clue what to do with it. Hey? Just
Frederick,
taking up limited space.
Hotels. Hotel lobby is the place for that.
Yeah, but it's around you. Hello, Chris. Chris Bailey works to join us.
Oh, Chris, how you doing?
You're right, mate.
Long time no see.
Long time,
Who's clicking?
Nice to see you. I think that's Terry. Is your battery nearly flat on your?
Yeah, battery in my microphone. Hang on, I'll plug it in.
So, Rob, we all know you've been distracted, mate, and all the best with that.
That's right.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Nice
definitely, mate.
Rob, family always comes first, mate.
Yeah, don't worry about us.
We'll always
be rambling on, buddy.
We're like ancient trees. We'll always be here.
Yeah, you need to take care of your family life, bugger us. Don't worry about us. We just talk about you when you're gone, Rob. Is all right.
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
Right. Is
Make a sink out of it, Frederick. Make a sink out of it, says Henry. Not sure where you're going to put it, though. Yes, another thing. Put a sink out. Put out.
Steve advised on that. He's done one of those.
Yeah.
I did a sink for someone for their camper van. Wasn't very big. I think it was about 14 inches in diameter by about 6 inches deep. Really nice it was. Made out of a piece of walnut. It was really, really nice.
They were pleased, weren't they?
Sorry?
He was pleased.
Oh, he was ecstatic. Absolutely ecstatic. Like I say, it was the plastic coat that, what we were saying earlier, gave it the finish. That just looked like a mirror. Absolutely stunning it was. I actually didn't want to give it to him when I finished. I wanted to put it in my bathroom, but Nick wouldn't have it up there. I don't want a bloody wooden sink.
Typical woman.
Yeah.
Oops, sorry, but anybody else?
That's right. You can say that here. It's only Lucy and Susie that are going to kill you for it.
Well, yeah. Don't go to Switzerland.
Oh, and Haley, and
Don't go to Southampton.
Yeah. You're probably in trouble, Terry. But there again, you usually are.
Do I care? No. I got wide shoulders. What have you been up to, Chris?
So,
Good
if
afternoon, what you
anybody's got any topics they want to talk about next month, email them through to me. I'll put my email address in here just in case you don't know it.
skkrafts.co.uk. No, yeah, skkrafts@btinternet.com.
This TTT, it kind of it's just a chat. So if you've got anything to chuck in, anything you want to talk about,
Bang it in.
As Steve said, email it to him in advance, and we can plan some discussion on it, or write it down so that when you actually get into the chat, you remember what to type.
Yeah, because if it's a discussion that might need some more information, if none of us know about it, we can dig some information up for you on the night. So, give us a little bit of prep time.
I'm too lazy.
Give us a little bit of prep time.
Lucy said, "Did I hear my name mentioned?" No, Lucy, you just got to kill Terry next time you see him again.
No, we're just talking about women, being the cause of these things. Watch a replay.
Right, I think we are finished. I think everybody's done their piece.
That's 2 hours we were on that.
I know, it's good. It's good.
Blimey.
Well, everybody, thank you very much for coming over and joining us. I hope you've enjoyed. Hope we haven't bored you too much. Thanks for taking part. Thanks for
bored you, then you won't be back next time.
If we bored him, they've already gone, Terry.
Yeah.
Okay, Frederick wants the topic for next time. Why is wood too hard to come by? Depends where you live. I can get tons of it. I pay for it, mine, but I can get it.
That's the thing. That's the thing.
The question is, what sort of wood? Because there is wood and there's wood.
Depends on where you live. What your native are and what your, you buy wood all over the world, but your native woods, ash is getting now, actually. To be honest, some ash, because of the dieback, they're not selling and letting us cut the dieback wood. Some companies.
And ash is always a pleasure to turn anyway.
It's beautiful. I had a chap up my house tonight with a van, and he offloaded about 30 pieces of ash. Bow blanks for me.
At the same time, there are African blackwood, pink ivory, these exotics, but they are great to turn, and you kind of just need to limit how much you turn of it, because it's just not viable to buy it in big pieces. But turn the big stuff out of cheap stuff and turn specialist pieces, your finials, your decoration bits out of the expensive woods.
Well, I can show them that on Sunday.
Stars and Baits, unfortunately they have closed down.
Don't worry about Stars and Baits for Frederick. Stars and Baits tired, but the main Stars and Baits, in fact, the only supplier of Stars and Baits of all their woods, really exciting.
There's one for you there, Steve.
What's it called? I'm getting the name for you. He's called Rob, and he is now supplying the same timber to the trade under this Dalman, under Stars and Baits and Dalman timbers. They are still there, and you'll get the same timber and you supply Stars and Baits.
So Les and Martin also supply timber blanks. Turner's Retreat, I believe, have got timber blanks. There's plenty out there. Yandles, obviously, for my area. There's plenty of timber suppliers out there.
Yeah.
But as I said,
English hardwoods, Devon.
English hardwoods, yeah.
Okay.
Get on the internet and have a look.
But bait stuff was supplied by Dalman, and Dalman are now selling direct.
So
They're
this
one of
is
the
really hard
exotics.
one. You'll get somebody say to you, when I had one, they wanted a 18-inch diameter. It was kind of a bowl-ish, but not a bowl. In walnut. And at the time, I could find plenty of 16-inch. I could not find anything in 18-inch, and 20-inch just became stupidly expensive. So finding the right size piece in any particular time is difficult. But there's plenty out there. Just
I've
go
also
around
got a contact for timber called Martin Pigeon. He sells.
Yeah, Martin Pigeon is great.
All he sells, and he turned today with a lot of timber for me.
My main advice is try and
Keep
find
you
a
lot
timber
happy.
supplier local to you that you can go and see. Because sometimes you just need to go and see the timber before you buy it.
You need to look at it. You know.
Rob says that Klingspor at the Andals Craft Fair on the 13th of July.
Come and say hi.
Not planned to come down to that one, but I will see what I can do on the calendar.
The bracket piece cake was for Lucy.
Yeah, Lucy, are you bringing cake? If you're bringing cake, I might make a point of coming down.
He might go.
Right, I think that is it. Right, so I will have a look because I might put this on. Can you show clips in TTT? Some unusual technique clips might be good, but
now we've got to start videoing.
I don't know what's unusual. I do all sorts of things.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you need to be more specific, mate. If you want us to have a look at stuff,
be specific.
And if that's something that we can't really show there, then obviously one of us could show it on a live.
We could do a little video. We could do a little video and include it. I mean, that's
using
doable.
a skew, using this.
If you say this, I'd like to see how you achieve this, then we can possibly do something about that.
William's speaking from experience there. William's speaking from experience there.
Being a tree surgeon, seek out your local tree surgeon.
Actually, if you want good timber, go see William. Yeah. He's got loads.
He's got loads and loads. You've got to go to Ireland.
Yeah, you got to drive to Ireland to get it, but well, you got to go to Ireland with a vehicle that can bring it back.
Tractor.
Right.
Actually, I might time I go to Ireland.
Time to hit the button, Steve.
Yep. Right, guys. Thank you very much for coming in and joining us. Hope you've enjoyed it. We will see you on the next one. If I don't see you before, I will see you a week on Sunday for hashtag week. I won't be here this Sunday because I'm at the gun club. So other than that, Terry will be back Sunday night.
Sunday night, 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock.
What's it? Heckington Arts. At Heckington Arts.
Terrence at Heckington Arts.
7 o'clock.
Right, okay, guys. Thank you very much for coming over. Thanks, Pete, for covering. Really appreciate that.
No worries.
We'll see you guys later. Thanks for now. Good night. Have a great weekend. Bye for now.